Then I'm going to say to the people that are watching us live on the internet, good afternoon. And as always, it is good to stand before you on the Lord's Sabbath day. You know, I make that point, sisters and brothers, because you know you have people that go to church every Sunday and they actually think it's the Lord's Sabbath day. And when you ask, they say it's the Christian Sabbath day. So I get a little cagey sometimes. I say, go in the book and show me where Christ observed the first day of the week as a Sabbath day. It's not in there. In fact, this is one of the things I have been trying to impress upon my Hebrew brothers, sisters and brothers, is that we, the original Christians, have to take this thing and straighten it out. The Lord chose us to teach all of the rest of the sons of Adam. You know, I've always heard the word, we the chosen people, the chosen people. So somebody asks you, chosen to do what? No reply. To take this to the rest of the sons of Adam, and we're supposed to take it to the rest of the sons of Adam from Genesis to Revelation, not from Genesis to Malachi. Because what's happened is, sisters and brothers, you have people that say that they're Old Testament scholars, and they think, from Genesis to Malachi. Then you have what you call the New Testament Christians that talk, they say, from Matthew's, well, I say, to Jude. They don't get off into Revelation. But the thing about this is, because we have been taught by the wrong people, everything we do is wrong because they simply don't understand. Now, we're going to deal with this lesson here. This lesson is called the law, spiritual and holy. The law, spiritual and holy. Because it has been taught that the law is no more. But then again, there's another thing that's being taught, like what happened yesterday. When Jesus was asked for a sign, and that was the sign, that's in Matthew, the 12th chapter. You can go read it on your own at another time. Because they wanted to know, was he the Christ, or the anointed one, or the Messiah? And he said, evil, an adulterous generation, seeketh for a sign. But there shall not be but one sign given you, and that's the sign of Jonah the prophet. As Jonah was in the belly of the whale for 3 days and 3 nights, so will the Son of Man be in the hot earth, talking about this grave, for 3 days and 3 nights. So everybody is celebrating yesterday, which was supposed to be Good Friday, that he was put in the grave Friday night, and he's going to be raised Easter Sunday morning. Even a rocket scientist can't get 3 days and 3 nights from Friday night to Sunday morning, sisters and brothers. But the reason that the world is going with this is because they simply did not understand when the Lord was on the cross. The Pharisees and the Jews said, we want to get him off the cross because the next day is a Sabbath, a high Sabbath. The only Sabbath that the Gentiles and the other strangers knew about was the weekly Sabbath, which is the day. So they assumed that because the next day was a Sabbath day, nobody paid no attention to the word high Sabbath. They said he had to die on Friday. But if you kept all of God's laws, sisters and brothers, then you will keep the Passover. That's when the bread and wine is taken. That's when Jesus stopped eating the animal and turned it into bread and wine. On the 14th day of the month, Abib, and on the 15th day is the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the first day, which is a Sabbath day. If they had known that there were 7 annual Sabbaths a year, then they would not have made that error. That's what it is, an error, a clear error. And I can see why they made it. But now it is up to us, the original Christian, Hebrew Israelites, to fix this. And instead of my brothers helping me fix it, a lot of them running around trying to condemn. Oh, you dumb. It's just like a teacher telling a student that he is dumb. If the student is dumb, that's because the teacher didn't do his job. These are the things, sisters and brothers, that we need to get back to. Get back to what we was chosen to do. Now, this law, sisters and brothers, everybody said the law ain't no more. You don't have to keep that old law. God knows you can't keep the old law. It's too hard. Plus, Jesus did away with it when he died on the cross. It's because they don't understand that there was more than one law. That there was a law, it's a raw law we're going to deal with, and there's a law, that's the law of animal sacrifice. The Lord never asked you to kill no animals for sin when he brought us out of Egypt. He just said, obey my word. What happened was, we wouldn't obey the word, so the wages of sin is death. When we sin, something had to die. So God decided, instead of me killing the sinner, because there wouldn't be no man left, I'm going to replace them with animal sacrifice, which is called the law of animal sacrifice. But when Jesus died on the cross, he became the sin offering. The veil of the temple ripped from top to bottom. That was the end of the law of animal sacrifice, not the law of God's commandments, sisters and brothers. And this is what we're going to have a look at. We know this. We are supposed to teach everybody this. And when somebody want to fight and all this here, you don't condemn them. You just tell it to them and leave it alone. Sooner or later, it's going to resonate with some of them. Because we are supposed to be teachers, not accusers. We're supposed to point the way for the right direction, not pointing the finger and condemning. And it's time, high time for us to get on our job. And we're going to deal with this law and show you spiritual and holy. Let's start in Exodus, the 19th chapter. This law is so important to the Lord until the Lord brought it to us himself. Anything that the Lord bring to you, he didn't even want to chance it in the hand of an angel. I'm going to do this myself. Exodus, the 19th chapter. Exodus chapter 19. Because sometimes people so messed up until you can read stuff to them. And they still just can't see it. Well, you see, on Easter, we go to sunrise service. Because that's when the sun rose on Easter Sunday. But in St. John, the 20th chapter, he said when Mary and them got to the sepulchre early, while it was yet dark. I'm going to interpret that word yet. Still dark. He was gone. The sun hadn't risen. It was still dark. So the only thing you go out on Easter Sunday morning to watch rise is the sun. Have you ever thought maybe why Sunday was called Sunday? Maybe because it was the day of the sun and the sun worshipers. But we ain't going to condemn them for it. We're going to teach them better. But as far as this law is concerned, we're going to show you this law is here. This law is what's going to give you eternal life, or this law is what's going to convict you and give you an eternal damnation. We're going to start this at verse 19 and verse 1. 19 and 1. Go ahead.
In the 3rd month, when the children of Israel were gone forth out of the land of Egypt, the same day came they into the wilderness of Sinai.
Go ahead.
For they were departed from Rephidim and were come to the desert of Sinai.
Go ahead.
And had pitched in the wilderness, and there Israel camped before the mount.
So when the Lord had them camp before the Mount Sinai, then the Lord had a message for them. And he wanted to talk to the people. Skip down to verse 9. Verse 9 and go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Moses, Lo, I come unto thee in a thick cloud.
He didn't say, no, I'm going to send an angel to thee. No. One time when he started to send Israel, he sent an angel before him, but not this time. He said, look, Moses, look, I come to you in a thick cloud. Go ahead and read.
That the people may hear when I speak with thee, and believe thee forever. And Moses told the words of the people unto the Lord.
Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Moses, Go unto the people and sanctify them today and tomorrow, and let them wash their clothes.
I want you to go and sanctify them and let them wash their clothes. Go ahead and read.
And be ready against the 3rd day. For the 3rd day the Lord will come down in the sight of all the people upon Mount Sinai.
So I want y'all to be ready, because I'm going to come down on the 3rd day in the sight of all the people. He was there, sisters and brothers, even though it was nothing but fire and smoke, because it tells you in other scripture, the reason he didn't let you see a similitude, because he didn't want you making no image or nothing. He said, but I'm coming down, and y'all going to know I'm here. Skip down to verse 14 and read it.
And Moses went down from the mountain to the people and sanctified the people, and they washed their clothes.
Now he went out and sanctified them. They washed their clothes. They let me know that Moses, the Lord don't like no smelly people too, right and dirty. Skip down to verse 17. Verse 17 and go ahead.
And Moses brought forth the people out of the camp to meet with God.
Now listen. And Moses brought forth the people out of the camp to meet with God. That's who they came to meet, sister and brother. Go ahead and read.
And they stood at the nether part of the mount. And Mount Sinai was altogether on a smoke, because the Lord descended upon it in a fire. And the smoke thereof ascended as the smoke of a furnace.
Go ahead.
And the whole mount quaked greatly.
So the Lord was standing on earth now in his full power. That's why it was smoking, the mountain was quaking, and everything was going on. Go ahead and read.
And when the voice of the trumpet sounded long and waxed louder and louder, Moses spake, and God answered him by a voice.
So now, when the trumpets call for three things, sisters and brothers, it is the coming of a king, call the people together for battle, or call retreat. That's why when Jesus get ready to come, it's going to be 7 trumpets blown before he get here. And each one of them trumpets under each trumpet is going to be some major damage to this earth. But nobody know about this, because we, the priests, have been asleep on the job. So he come when Moses spoke, the Lord answered him by voice. Now, we're going to read and show you what the Lord spoke. And we're going to read all of these commandments here. Let's go into Exodus, the 20th chapter. Exodus 20 and verse 1. We're going to read them all. I remember when we started doing the TV program, I don't know how we got away from it, but after every program, we used to have the brother quote all the commandments and ask the question, now what is wrong with them? Can't find nothing wrong with the commandments. Verse 1, 20 and 1, go ahead.
And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
Go ahead.
Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath.
Now look, sisters and brothers. He said, I'm the Lord thy God. I brought you out of Egypt, and you will have no God before me, and I don't want you to make no graven images, or no images of anything in heaven, in earth, or any place else. Now you go and you read this, and then you go in the church, you got a little statue here, you got a little statue there, you got a picture over with somebody's hand together, praise in front of a guy that's looking down off the cross. It's an image. This is the Lord's talking here. Go ahead and read.
Or that is in the water under the earth.
Go ahead.
Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, unto the 3rd and 4th generation of them that hate me.
He said, now look, sisters and brothers, I want you to get one thing clear. He means if you're going to have an image of something, and you're going to bow down and call it a god or some kind of deity, that's when you're violation. But if your child got a doll, or you got a little statue or something that don't have nothing to do with God, or you have a picture of a nice portrait, then that is nothing but a picture or statue. But when you say it is something to be worshipped, that's where you violate it. When you because I know we had a brother, I remember years ago, we had teachers telling you the little girls couldn't even bring baby dolls to class. Oh, get out of here with that image. That's one of the contributing factors that they put on us as a cult. Well, he said, I don't want you to have nothing to bow down to. Go ahead and call it. Go ahead and read.
6. And showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments.
And look, the Lord tell you he's a jealous God. This is what people don't understand. You know what jealousy is? Book tell you that jealousy is crueler than the grave. And you don't want no God that can kill you even if you die, wake you up and kill you again, to be jealous of you. Go ahead and read.
Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. For the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain.
Go ahead.
Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
Now, this is why I like to point out, people. First thing, the Lord tells you how to handle him, how to approach him, what not to do to offend him. Then the second most important thing to him is this day here, the Lord's Sabbath day. The second most important. So that's why when he got through, he said, and remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. People don't even know the Sabbath day. When is the Sabbath day? Well, it's Sunday. Is it? Go read the Bible. It'll tell you it's the seventh day. Now you look at your calendar. It'll tell you that Sunday is the first day. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Go ahead and read.
9. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God.
Go ahead.
In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor the stranger that is within thy gates.
Now I think that's fine. He said, I'm going to give you 6 days to work and do whatever you think you need to do. I just want you to give me one. But in this servitude, sister and brother, under a different government, they don't honor this. Sometimes you just have to work to eat. That's what Jesus was talking about when your ox fall into the well. You understand? You got to get him out on the Sabbath day. However, if it's something that you don't have to do, the Lord said don't do it. And if you don't know how to do it and you do it, don't you think that the Lord know that too? He said, because I gave you 6 days to take care of your business. I'm just asking you to give me one. That is real fast. Go ahead and read. 11.
For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is.
Go ahead.
And rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it.
Go ahead.
Honor thy father and thy mother.
Now you get to something we need to read every day on the news. Honor thy father and thy mother. Go ahead and read.
That thy days may be long upon the land, which the Lord thy God giveth thee.
That thy days may be long. This is what telling you here. This is a commandment with promise. Honor your father and your mother, and you might live a long time. But if you don't honor your father and your mother, your days could be numbered. And we get youngsters, they don't honor their father and their mother, so they ain't going to honor other grown folks. When I was growing up, sisters and brothers, every elder man was a mister, and every elder woman was a missus. You understand? And if I was doing wrong, anybody could say, stop it. I ain't going to turn around. You can't tell me what to do. Or you better get your blanket. In my day, they would kill you, and the mother and father would finish you off when you get home. But now ain't no honor left. So, when you don't have no honor left, you know what's left? Graveyard and the jail. Go ahead and read.
13. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery.
Thou shalt not kill. That's pretty good to me. Thou shalt not commit adultery. That's pretty good to me. Go ahead and read.
Thou shalt not steal.
Thou shalt not steal.
Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor.
You should not lie on your neighbor. Go ahead and read.
Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. Nor his manservant.
Go ahead.
Nor his maidservant.
Go ahead.
Nor his ox. Nor his ass. Nor anything that is thy neighbor's.
Now, can you tell me something wrong with this? Covetousness creates jealousy, sisters and brothers. And jealousy creates bad behavior. He said, thou shalt not cover none of these. Go ahead and read.
And all the people saw the thunderings and the lightnings and the noise of the trumpet and the mountain smoking. And when the people saw it, they removed and stood afar off.
Go ahead.
And they said unto Moses, speak thou with us, and we will hear. But let not God speak with us, lest we die. Now
the man is the first one that didn't want to talk to God no more. We don't want God no more. Look here, Moses. You stand between me and God, and y'all speak to him. We're going to hear you. Whatever he tell you, Moses, we're going to obey. But we don't want to speak to him no more because we're going to die from this. They were scared to death. What did Moses say? Go ahead and read.
And Moses said unto the people, fear not, for God is come to prove you, and that his fear may be before your face, that ye sin not.
See, he said, fear not, because he come to prove you that his fear will be before your face that you sin not. I tell people all the time, sisters and brothers, pay attention. Fear. Love is good. But I done messed over and messed around with a whole lot of people that I love and disappointed a whole lot of people that I love, but ain't never crossed nobody that I was afraid of. The Lord knows what he's talking about. People tell you, well, you should take love out and fear out and put love in. How many times you done disappointed your loved one? You can walk by a bank, you broke. Repo man trying to get your car. You can't pay your rent. And you won't go up in there with a pistol and stick that bank up with you. You know why? Because they're going to blow the top of your head off and take you to jail if you ain't lucky. And if you are lucky, they're going to get you sooner or later. You know why? You walk by a house full of money and don't rob it because you're afraid of the consequences. 3 o'clock in the morning, you come up on a stop sign, ain't nobody around, but you stop. Why? Fear. Well, it might be a cop hiding in the ditch. You stop. Fear. You obey a mechanical light. It turned red, you stop. Why? Fear. So when you take the fear out of the Lord's word, ain't nobody going to obey him. And that's what's going on right now. People don't know about the lake of fire and the worms that don't die. Because don't nobody teach that about it, because God is love. So the Lord spoke every word in his 10 commandments to the whole nation of Israel, because Israel being the priest, then Israel represents the whole world. Israel is a microcosm of the whole world. What is good for us is necessary for the rest of the world. So once the Lord get through speaking, then what did he do with Moses? Let's go on to Exodus, the 24th chapter. Exodus chapter 24. Because I want to let you know what the Lord did concerning his law, his commandment. And when I saw all this trouble he went through, I said, wait a minute. Maybe this thing is a little bit more important than what I've been told. Because everybody tell you the Lord ain't no more. There's always a telling. It's not a reading. We're going to read one verse. Exodus 24 and verse 12. Verse 12. Okay, read it.
And the Lord said unto Moses, come up to me into the mount, and be there, and I will give thee tables of stone, and a law, and commandments, which I have written, that thou mayest teach them.
He said, now I want you to come up now to the mount. And I'm going to give you tables of stone and the law and commandments that I've written, that you may teach them. He spoke them, then he said, come up there, and I'm going to write them. Okay? Now let's go into Exodus, the 34th chapter. And let's see what he did. Exodus chapter 34. Because you need to see the importance of this, sisters and brothers.
Pastor, 31.
Exodus 31. Exodus 31. You need to see the importance of this. Because the problem is, don't nobody know how much of a fuss that God made over these laws. 31 and verse 18. 31 and verse 18. Moses went up there, and he was up there a long time, 40 days and 40 nights. And let's see who wrote these. Verse 18. Go ahead.
And he gave unto Moses, when he had made an end of communing with him upon Mount Sinai, 2 tables of testimony.
Go ahead.
Tables of stone, written with the finger of God.
Now, the Lord wrote these himself. You say God is not a vain God. He spoke them, brought him up, kept him there, and wrote them with his own finger in stone. The message was, you know, the thing, like you ever heard the thing, look, it's etched in stone. That means it ain't going to change. So he went up there, and while he was getting these stones, Israel was going stupid. Let's go into Genesis. Exodus, the 32nd chapter. You're already here. Exodus chapter 32, and let's start reading at verse 1. 32 and 1. I just want you to look at what's going on here. Verse 1, go ahead.
And when people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mount, the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron, and said unto him, up, make us gods, which shall go before us. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we wot not what is become of him.
Ain't that something? Aaron's supposed to be standing in for Moses now. supposed to be the priest. Up, make us God. For this Moses that brought us out of Egypt, this Moses, like he's some stranger that come along. This is the guy that the Lord used to destroy Egypt with a staff in his hand. Lord used to split the Red Sea and bring him over dry shod. This Moses, we don't know what had happened to him. Let's see what Aaron did. Go ahead and read.
And Aaron said unto them, break off the golden earrings which are in the ears of your wives, of your sons, and of your daughters, and bring them unto me.
Go ahead.
And all the people brake off the golden earring which were in their ears, and brought them unto Aaron.
Go ahead.
And he received them at their hand, and fashioned it with a graving tool.
Go ahead.
After he had made it a molten calf. And they said, these be the gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt.
I'm going to show you now. First thing the priest was supposed to say, y'all talking crazy. You do this, the Lord's going to kill you. But no, he made a calf. And then he turned around and said, these be the gods, O Israel, that brought you out of Egypt. Ain't nobody laid the heart. Wait a minute, I just got this out of my nose and out of my ear. And gave it to him. These be the gods. So now if they can be that stupid, then I can give these people nowadays a little bit of credit. You understand what I'm saying? At least you didn't hear. My Sabbath is the seventh day. So when somebody come put something on the table, maybe you don't know about it. But he said, these be the gods. And what did he do? Go ahead and read.
5. And when Aaron saw it, he built an altar before it. And Aaron made proclamation and said, tomorrow is a feast to the Lord.
See, that's what happened. When you do a pagan god, now you got to come up with you a pagan holy day. So he come up with him a pagan holy day. This is the priest now. This ain't the regular people. Pay attention. Go ahead and read.
And they rose up early on the morrow and offered burnt offerings and brought peace offerings. And the people sat down to eat and to drink and rose up to play.
Ain't that something? Now all of a sudden there's you eating and drinking and having a good time. We got us a brand new God over here that have no restrictions on us. This calf didn't tell us we don't have to kill. Then not to kill. It didn't tell us not to steal. It didn't tell us not to sneak in my David in the back door of my neighbor's tent and sleep with his wife. I like this God. He love everybody.
All right now.
Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Moses, up, get thee down, for thy people which thou broughtest out of the land of Egypt.
The Lord wouldn't even claim us no more. He said, get you down. Them people that you brought out of the land of Egypt, go ahead and read.
Have corrupted themselves.
Have corrupted themselves. So, okay, Moses, after the conversation, the Lord had to tell Moses, get on down there, man. So he's going to say, no, you better get on down there. So Moses turns. Skip down to verse 15. Verse 15. And go ahead.
And Moses turned and went down from the mount. And the 2 tables of the testimony were in his hand. The tables were written on both their sides. On the one side and on the other were they written.
So now he had these 10 commandments in his hand. Written on stone. Both sides of the stone. And he come down and look what he run into. Go ahead and read.
And the tables were the work of God.
They were the work of God. He put all that labor. You say God ain't a vain God? He worked on that for 40 days and 40 nights. And that was the work of God. Go ahead and read.
And the writing was the writing of God.
And the writing was the writing of God, not Moses. Go ahead and read.
Graven upon the tables. And when Joshua heard the noise of the people as they shouted, he said unto Moses, there is a noise of war in the camp.
See, Joshua was Moses' servant, but he went so far up the mountain with Moses, and he had to stop. And the Lord told Moses, you come on up here by yourself. So when Moses came down, he said, look, they got war in the camp. Moses said, no, that ain't fighting we here. Go ahead and read.
And he said, it is not the voice of them that shout for mastery, neither is the voice of them that cry for being overcome.
Go ahead.
But the noise of them that sing do I hear.
I mean, they're having a ball down there. Go ahead and read.
And it came to pass, as soon as he came nigh unto the camp, that he saw the calf and the dancing, and Moses' anger waxed hot.
In other words, Moses got hacked off. And I don't blame him. I done put 40 years up here
40 days.
40 days up here collecting a law for you, the same law that God himself showed up and told you. And I come down here and y'all in front of a calf jumping up and down. So he got so mad, what did he do? Go ahead and read.
And he cast the tables out of his hand and brake them beneath the mount.
So that should have been the end of it, shouldn't it? Hey, they don't need them, they don't deserve them, boom, I'm going to break them. No, it don't work like that. Let's go into Exodus 34th chapter. We're going to see what the Lord said concerning this. Because Moses got mad now. He did some stuff. He went out there and he got that golden calf. He grounded the powder. Then he got the powder and put it in the water. Then he made the people drink the water. Then he said, who's on the Lord's side? Then the Levites came. He said, put everyone your weapon in your hand. I want you to go in and out of all the tents, and you killing everybody. Your mother, whoever's guilty, your father, your brother, kill them. Now once Moses had done what he was doing, then he went back to the Lord and begged for forgiveness. See, but the Lord ain't going to forgive you unless you show that you done repented. All right. But anyway, once he had broke them and done what he going to do, the Lord spoke to him again. 34:1. Go ahead and read.
And the Lord said unto Moses, hew thee 2 tables of stone like unto the first, and I will write upon these tables the words that were in the first table, which thou breakest.
So I want you to get you 2 more tables and come right on back here. I'm going to write the same words. Go ahead and read.
And be ready in the morning, and come up in the morning unto Mount Sinai, and present thyself there to me in the top of the mount.
And I want you to come on up and present yourself to me. Skip down to verse 4. Verse 4 and go ahead.
And he hewed 2 tables of stone like unto the first. And Moses rose up early in the morning and went up unto Mount Sinai.
Go ahead.
As the Lord had commanded him. And took in his hand the 2 tables of stone.
So now here Moses going back up on the same mountain. This time he had to cut the stones out and take them to God. Go ahead and read.
And the Lord descended in the cloud and stood with him there and proclaimed the name of the Lord. So the Lord came down and stood before Moses. And he proclaimed the name of the Lord, and he proceeded to write the same thing. Skip down to verse 27. Verse 27. Because he wrote it again, and look what he said. Go ahead and read. And the Lord said unto Moses, write thou these words, for after the tenor of these words I have made a covenant with thee and with Israel.
He said, now I want you to write these words. But Moses wrote them later on paper, but the Lord let you know that he wrote them on the stone. He said, I want you to write these words. Be careful what you put out. Because after the tenor of these words have I entered into a covenant with the house of Israel. And when you're doing that, we're going to show you later on, that's with the house of Adam. Because what's good for Israel is good for all of the sons of Adam. Go ahead and read.
And he was there with the Lord 40 days and 40 nights.
Again, go ahead.
He did neither eat bread nor drink water. And he wrote upon the tables the word of the covenant, the 10 commandments.
And he did the same thing. Wrote upon the tables the words of the covenant. What did the book say? The 10 commandments. That's the words of the covenant. Now, if you're going to enter into a covenant with somebody, an agreement with somebody, and you don't have no rules, then what's to keep you from breaking the covenant? You ain't got no rules. Everything goes. But the Lord said, these are the words of the covenant, the 10 commandments. And this is what the Lord wants you to do. Now, let's go into Deuteronomy, the 10th chapter. Deuteronomy, chapter 10. See, but nobody go and get the foundation. So when you get to the top of the house, you don't understand what's going on. You cannot understand the composition of a house until you at least look at the foundation. Deuteronomy chapter 10. And the Lord will tell you what he requires. People, well, I wonder what the Lord wants me to do. You don't have to wonder. All you got to do is read the book. He'll tell you what he wants you to do. But don't nobody read. Deuteronomy 10:1. 10:1. Go ahead.
At that time the Lord said unto me, hew thee 2 tables of stone like unto the first, and come up unto me into the mount, and make thee an ark of wood. So now Moses is telling what he had already done. Because now he's getting ready to move on now. So he said, so the Lord, he made me come up, make some more stones, wrote them same laws on it,
And he wanted me to make an ark of the covenant. In other words, a little chest. Go ahead and read.
And I will write on the tables the words that were in the first table, which thou breakest, and thou shalt put them in the ark.
That's why I know that the Lord wrote on them second set of stones also. Because he said, I'm going to write on them the same words that I put in the first one, and I want you to put them in the ark. Go ahead and read.
And I made an ark of shittim wood, and hewed 2 tables of stone like unto the first, and went up into the mount, having the 2 tables in mine hand.
Go ahead.
And he wrote on the tables, according to the first writing, the 10 commandments.
Now that's the Lord wrote on the tables, according to the first table, the 10 commandments. Go ahead and read.
Which the Lord spake unto you in the mount out of the midst of the fire in the day of assembly. And the Lord gave them unto me.
So he didn't say write nothing different. He only wrote what he spoke to you. The Lord spoke them to you, and he wrote it again. Twice. Go ahead and read.
And I turned myself and came down from the mount, and put the tables in the ark which I had made. And there they be, as the Lord commanded me.
He said, I put them in the ark of the covenant, and they still there. Skip down to verse 12. Verse 12 and go ahead.
And now, Israel, what does the Lord thy God require of thee?
Now, he's going to tell you. What does the Lord thy God require you? Go ahead.
But to fear the Lord thy God.
Because you got to fear or you ain't going to obey. Go ahead and read.
To walk in all his ways. And to love him. And to serve the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul.
He said that is what he requires. To love him. To walk in his ways. And to fear him. And obey him with all your heart, with all your soul. That's what he requires. Go ahead and read.
To keep the commandments of the Lord.
To keep the commandments of the Lord.
And his statutes, which I command thee this day for thy good.
Which I command you this day for your good. Because you can't kill the Lord. You can't hurt the Lord. You can only hurt yourself. He said, that's what I require of you. That you obey me. You fear me. And you keep my commandments for your good. Now you're telling people. Nowadays, they're saying you don't have to keep the commandments. You know what? See, I know the Lord. See, the Holy Ghost in that reveal the Lord. You know the Lord? Do you? Yeah, I know the Lord. But why don't you keep commandments? Oh, you don't have to keep them. The Lord nailed them to the cross. Well, why don't we go and see what one of his apostles wrote? Let's go into 1 John, the 2nd chapter. Next time somebody tell you, well, I know the Lord, you ask them, do you keep the commandments? 99.5% of the time, they're going to say, no, you don't have to keep the old commandments. They're too hard. So the God that created you set you up to fail. That's what you're saying. You're going to give me something and tell me I better keep them or else, and I can't keep them. Why even dig me out the dirt? You're going to send me back to it? Because you done gave me something I can't keep. But let's see. These are people that say, when they say they love the Lord, this is what I want you to read to them. 1 John, 2nd chapter, verse 1. Go ahead.
My little children, these things write I unto you, that ye sin not.
Now, first thing is that I write unto you that you sin not. That means we're going to have to find out what sin is after a while. But go ahead and read.
And if any man sin, we have an advocate with the Father, Jesus Christ the righteous.
So now if you have anybody sin, you got somebody that's pleading your cause. That's if you sin unwillingly. But if you sin willfully, I can show you ain't nobody going to plead your cause. But if you should inadvertently do so, you have somebody sitting at the right hand of the Father pleading your cause. Go ahead and read.
And he is the propitiation for our sins.
He is the sacrifice. He is the one that paid the toll for our sin. Go ahead and read.
And not for ours only, but also for the sins of the whole world.
See, it don't stop here because God created everybody in here. So he's the one that died for the sins of us and the whole world, whoever will come to him. Go ahead and read.
And hereby we do know that we know him.
And hereby we do know that we know him. Go ahead and read.
If we keep his commandments.
If we keep his commandments. Now, that's why I said we know that we know him if he keep his commandments. But keep reading.
He that saith, I know him.
He that saith, I know him.
And keepeth not his commandments.
And keepeth not his commandments.
Is a liar.
Is a liar.
And the truth is not in him.
Truth is not in him. I didn't make that up. We all read that together, didn't we? He that saith that he know the Lord and don't keep his commandments is a liar. And the truth's not in it. I don't care how many degrees he have. I don't care how big his cross is. You cannot circumvent the Bible. Go ahead and read.
But whoso keepeth his word, in him verily is the love of God perfected.
But if you keep his word, then his love is perfected in you. Go ahead and read.
Hereby know we that we are in him. He that saith he abideth in him ought himself also to walk, even as he walked.
Jesus broke no commandments. He committed no adultery. He told no lie. He did no stealing. He ate no catfish, no pig, no shrimp, none of that stuff. So if you're going to be like him, if you know him, then you know what he told you, even what not to eat and what you could eat. Go ahead and read.
Brethren, I write no new commandments unto you, but an old commandment which ye had from the beginning.
Go ahead.
The old commandment is the word which ye have heard from the beginning.
He said, look, I didn't put nothing new on the table. This is the same old commandment that you had from beginning. I didn't ask you to come up with something brand new. He said, because he told you to sin not. So now, if he don't want you to sin, let's find out how you can sin. Let's turn right on over to the 3rd chapter of 1 John here. Because I'm going to tell you something. You ask the average person, what is sin? Well, all kind of uncleanness. Yeah, what is sin? Well, you know, smoking and drinking and dancing. If that's the case, then I'm a major sinner. I stopped smoking the cigarettes because it's bad for my health. But I hit me a little wine and I hit a little jack every now and then. I can't cut the rug like I used to, but at least I can pat one foot. Because I know what sin is and what it is not. Now we're going to find out what sin is. Let's see if it's smoking and drinking. Verse 4, 1 John 3 and 4. Okay, read.
Whosoever committed sin,
whosoever committed sin, go ahead.
Transgresseth also the law.
Transgresseth means he break also the law. Go ahead.
For sin is the transgression of the law.
For sin is the transgression and the breaking of the law. So now you know what sin is. The transgression of the law. And if you don't break the law, you ain't sinning. A lot of people call me, brother, boy, this sin. Brother called me yesterday. Well, you know, brother, is smoking reefer sin? I said, no. I said, but it's against the laws of this land. You understand what I'm saying? I don't add nothing to sin. I don't take nothing away from sin. I only let sin be what the Lord says sin is. And that is the transgression of the law. It's all that simple. Now, let's go into Romans, the 7th chapter. And Paul going to pray. That's why I don't understand what people got this here. You don't have to keep no law from. They go and read Paul's right. You don't read all of Paul's right. Because if you did, then you'll know and understand what sin is. But now you just read it out of the book. Sin is the transgression of the law. There ain't nothing else you can make sin out of. Nothing. Transgression of the law. Now we're going to start this in Romans 7 and verse 7. Romans the 7th chapter and verse 7. Okay, go ahead.
What shall we say then? Is the law sin?
Is the law sin? Go ahead and read.
God forbid.
God forbid. But if you listen to them people right nowadays, you think law is sin. Because they call people that keep the commandment legalists. I never could understand that. I always thought it was good to be legal. So I'll be a legalist. That's better than being an illegalist. So what y'all say is sin, is the law sin? God forbid. Go ahead and read.
Nay, I had not known sin but by the law.
He said, I had not known sin but by the law. Go ahead and read.
For I had not known lust, except the law had said, thou shalt not covet.
Did we read that? I'm looking at this man. I'm coveting his wife. I'm coveting his house. I'm coveting his blessing that the Lord had blessed him with a little money. And unless the law had told me, thou shalt not covet, then I wouldn't know that I was lusting over everything that this man had. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
But when the law said, thou shalt not covet, whoa, I'm in violation. I got to stop doing this. Go ahead and read.
But sin, taking occasion by the commandments, wrought in me all manner of concupiscence. For without the law, sin was dead. For I was alive without the law once. But when the commandment came, sin revived, and I died.
Now it's about sin taking occasion by the law. In other words, coming by way of the law, because the law identified what it was. It said, it slew me. What do you mean? How can you be slain and write a book? That means he killed an old person, the old sinning boy that would pick your pocket, steal your money, eyeball your wife. Don't exist no more. Oh, I was all that and worse. I'm going to tell you like it is. I died. You understand? But I'm still here talking. So he said, when sin revived, I died. Go ahead and read. And then why did sin come? By way of the law. How? Because the law identified it. Go ahead and read. What verse?
10.
Go ahead.
And the commandment which was ordained to life.
And the commandment which was ordained to life, and we're going to show you that. It is ordained to life. Go ahead and read.
I found to be unto death. For sin, taking occasion by the commandment, deceived me, and by it slew me.
Look, commandment which is written that you might have life if you keep it. He said, I found it to be death. Because sin taking occasion by the commandment deceived me, and it killed me. It killed that old sinful boy. Go ahead and read.
Wherefore the law is holy.
Wherefore the law is holy.
And the commandment holy.
And the commandment holy.
And just.
And just.
And good.
Now how can something be wrong with something that's holy and just and good, sister and brother? Could you tell me that? I always talk about holiness. If it's holy and just and good, those are three real absolute good titles, ain't it? So what's wrong? How can something be wrong with that? Go ahead and read.
Was then that which is good made death unto me? God forbid.
Go ahead.
But sin, that it might appear sin, working death in me by that which is good, that sin by the commandment might become exceeding sinful.
The law simply said, man, you messing up. A sister, you are crossing the line, and you quit. Go ahead and read.
For we know that the law is spiritual.
But the law is spiritual?
But I am carnal, sold under sin.
And this is what man don't understand. The law is spiritual, but we are carnal, we're sold under sin. We're born in sin. And unless we are taught different, the first thing that comes to us is a sinful thought. I like it, I'm going to take it. I don't care who it belongs to. By whatever means necessary. Then the law says, can't do that. So Paul found out that he had him a struggle, sister and brother, and it is a struggle. Skip down to verse 21, and let's look at this thing. Verse 21, go ahead.
I find then a law, that when I would do good, evil is present with me.
Believe me, sister and brother, everybody know this is the truth. I see a lot of times I got good thoughts in my mind, but something come up that are evil thoughts. You can do that, man. You human. Ain't nobody going to know. Because there's another law in your members. This is what you call the law of physical craving. This is the carnal law. This body wants everything. I want the money. I want the woman. I want the house. I want everybody to praise me. I want to be the man. Or I want to be the woman. That's the fleshly thing. All us have it. Go ahead and read.
For I delight in the law of God after the inward man.
Go ahead.
But I see another law in my members, warring against the law of my mind.
Go ahead.
And bringing me into captivity to the law of sin, which is in my members.
What does it mean, the law of my members? Because this body wants stuff. You know you're overweight, and you shouldn't eat certain things. You say, well, I'm going to die tomorrow, but I'm eating this cake. That body said, give me cake. The mind said, you know you shouldn't eat that cake. Then the body said, well, you know, you got tomorrow. You can go on your diet tomorrow. This is what I'm talking about, sisters and brothers. Go ahead and read.
24. O wretched man that I am.
He's an old wretched man that I am. Go ahead and read.
Who shall deliver me from the body of this death?
Who shall deliver me from the body of this death? This body is trying to kill me all the time. He want me to eat food that I shouldn't eat. Drink and get drunk and liquor should go to somebody's house that I shouldn't go there. Steal somebody's money that I shouldn't steal. Lie on somebody that's known for killing people that lie on him. This body is trying to kill me. Therefore, it says, who shall deliver me from this body of death? Your own body got a hit out on you. So what you have to do is control it with your mind. Look what Paul said. Go ahead and read.
I thank God through Jesus Christ our Lord.
I thank God through Jesus Christ our Lord. Go ahead.
So then with the mind, I myself serve the law of God.
So with the mind, when I have a presence of mind, I serve the law of God. That mind says, don't do it. So you're going to listen to the mind. But the day that you stop listening to your mind, that the Lord didn't put his law in, what happened? Go ahead.
But with the flesh, the law of sin.
But with the flesh, the law of sin. How many times you say, well, you know, I'm human, you know. The Lord understands. I got news for you. He do understand. That's why you better be careful how you handle it. But this is a struggle. Paul tells you it is a struggle, sisters and brothers. And this struggle goes on and on and on. So now, when the Lord got ready to make a new covenant with man, house of Israel and with man, let's see where he said he put his law. Because Paul said, with the mind I serve the law of God, didn't he?
Yes, sir.
Let's go into Jeremiah, the 31st chapter. Jeremiah chapter 31. Because this is what it's all about, sisters and brothers. That old saying, mind over matter, really means something. Because if you don't control this body, it will kill you. It's all that simple. At my age, this old mind tell me, this body, oh, you can do it, man. But the mind said, you know the last time you tried that, you was laid up for 3 days. You have to deal with it. Jeremiah 31, and we're going to start at verse 31. Jeremiah 31 and verse 31. The Lord going to make a new covenant. Let's see how he can do it. Remember, didn't he tell Moses, after the tenor of these words, have I entered into a covenant with the house of Israel?
Yes, he did.
The words are the 10 commandments. Verse 31, go ahead.
Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah.
Because Israel is the one that God chose to be the priest, so he's going to make the covenant with us, and we're going to teach the rest of the people about this covenant. That's why I keep telling my Hebrew brothers, you are the original Christian. You're supposed to carry this torch to the rest of the world. I'm going to make a new covenant with the house of Israel, with the house of Judah. Go ahead and read.
Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt.
Go ahead.
Which my covenant they break. Although I was an husband unto them, saith the Lord.
He said, look, they broke my covenant when I brought them out of Egypt. I wrote them on stone. That didn't mean nothing. While I was writing them, they was breaking the covenant. Then they got crazy. I did all kind of things. I had them write them on the doorpost. They still broke them. I even had them wear outfits and put fringes on them to remind them to keep my covenant. They still broke them. So I got to come up with something else. Israel right now use the fringe as a fashion statement. This is our culture. That was the culture of the sinful people. So the Lord said, look, I'm going to do something new. What is he going to do? What verse is it?
33.
Go ahead.
But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. After those days, saith the Lord.
Go ahead.
I will put my law in their inward parts.
This is the covenant I'm going to make in those days. I'm going to put my law in their inward parts. Go ahead and read.
And write it in their hearts.
And write it in their hearts, which is their mind. Go ahead and read.
And will be their God, and they shall be my people.
He said, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a new covenant with them. Let's go into Hebrews, the 8th chapter, and pursue this same thing. Hebrews 8. Because he's saying, I wrote them on the stone, that didn't work. I wrote them on the doorpost, that didn't work. I put fringes on the garments, that didn't work. I got to come up with something, otherwise I'm going to kill all these people. That's why I said the law is spiritual, but we are carnal, soul on the scene. Our first thought when something come up is to break the law. First thought. Have to struggle with it. All these years, I'm going to tell you something, brother, young brother, well, brother, when I get to your age, I'll be okay. I'm going to tell you, this is one thing you do not age out of. You still have to handle this thing. Verse 7, Hebrews 8, and we're going to start reading at verse 7. 8 and 7. Okay, go ahead.
For if that first covenant had been faultless, then should no place have been sought for the second. For finding fault with them, he said, Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah.
See, it was faultless because Israel was the fault. We broke the covenant. So, okay then, I'm going to make a new covenant with you. I'm going to try putting them somewhere else now. Go ahead and read.
Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt.
Go ahead.
Because they continued not in my covenant, and I regarded them not, saith the Lord.
Go ahead.
For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Lord.
So this is the covenant now I'm going to make with them after those days. Go ahead and read.
I will put my laws into their mind.
I'm going to put my laws into mind.
And write them in their hearts.
And write them in their hearts. That's still in mind. Go ahead and read.
And I will be to them a God. And they shall be to me a people.
So now, that's why they're going to put the law now in your mind. You don't have to look at the stone that said, thou shalt not. You don't have to go back to your house and look over the doorpost and look at all the commandments and see, well, then this is the one I shouldn't break. You don't have to pull up a fringe on your garment and look at it and say, okay, I ain't going to break this covenant. It's in your mind at all times. That's the best place, sisters and brothers. Because you don't have no space to say, well, you know, Lord, you gave me a little time that right there I wasn't thinking, I got them right there. The new covenant, he's going to write them in your mind. And what are the covenant? That's the words of the 10 Commandments. Isn't that what we read? You can't get away from that. But then people try every kind of ways to get away from it. Because the question was asked Jesus, and they try to use this to get away from keeping the commandments. Let's back up to Matthew, the 22nd chapter. Matthew chapter 22. People tell me, well, brother, you're accusing people. I ain't accusing nobody. I'm reading this book. Now, you do what you want to. If anything, that's what Jesus told them Jews, them Pharisees. He said, I don't accuse you. Moses is the one that accuses you. Because if you understood the writing of Moses, then you would understand me. This is what people don't understand. Ain't no acquisition here. People get mad at me all the time. There you go with that old legalist stuff. I'm going to tell it to you. Well, do you keep it? It ain't got nothing to do with what I keep. I'm telling you what the Lord said you better keep. Because if you keep it, you're going to save yourself. If I keep it, I'm going to save myself. If I don't keep it, I'm going to get me cut off. And you don't keep it, you're going to get you cut off. So what's it got to do with you looking at me and seeing what I keep? You better look at me and seeing when I told you what the Lord said keep. This is what man get messed up. You make this thing on a personal level. You bring it on the realm of man. This ain't got nothing to do with man and man. This got something to do with man and God.
All right.
This is the whole thing.
Hey, Glenn.